What are the different possible rounds in a data scientist interview? Let us see. The ML data or coding challenge is usually something that you get as a take-home challenge where you're given some data and asked to perform a certain task, which would be using certain models or figuring out how to achieve some kind of outcome. Then you're asked to send the result, which they could put through a testing script and see whether you got through, if you got a good enough score. This is usually a screening round to figure out whether you go to the next round or not. The next set of things that happen usually is a resume walkthrough interview where someone goes over all the projects that you have done to assess your skill set and also to see whether you actually know all the things that you have said in your resume. It is possible that they ask you some fundamental machine learning concepts as well during this interview, for example, about ML models or probability related questions or statistics related questions and so on, especially those related to any of the projects you have done. Or it could even be stuff outside that. And the goal would be to see if you know deep enough about some of the things that you have worked on and if you know enough things in the space of data science. It is customary to also have an ML scenario or a modeling round where you are given a problem, a hypothetical problem by the interviewer which you have not probably done earlier. It's a new problem where you're asked to think about what features you can come up with for the data, what modeling would you do, and what outcomes you can get from the data, right? And it could be everything end to end from like how you would deploy it and so on. This is to see if you are able to apply what you know to a new problem and produce useful outcomes. It is not unusual to have an algorithms / data structures round, and this could also be like a coding round sometimes, where you're asked to solve algorithms and data structures problems. Sometimes it could just be like Python coding or just a test of your coding abilities. This could range from asking you to do it actually on a Jupyter notebook and seeing the code to asking you to write pseudocode. It depends. Sometimes you have an ML systems or an architecture round, especially if you're in a more engineering role, to see how comfortable you are and what is your breadth of knowledge of various systems available out there. And also sometimes you are asked about ML at scale. So technologies like Hadoop, Spark, and so on, how comfortable you are with them, and you could be asked specific technical questions there. Leadership interaction is a round that is common in not just machine learning or data scientist interviews, but in any interview loop, where you end up meeting with the manager or the director of the team or somebody senior in the team who will tell you about the team from a high level big picture point of view and also see whether you're a good culture fit in the team. And finally, there is almost always a HR interaction round where you talk to the HR folks to understand all kinds of different questions about joining, any questions that you have, any other questions that you have. You might be asked what salary you expect, for instance, and things like that. Right. So these are all the various different possible rounds in a data scientist interview. Now, you don't have so many rounds usually, right? So this is the universe of things that people test for, but it is common to have 2 to 6 rounds in an interview loop, depending on the company and depending on the role that they're interviewing for. And usually it's a mix and match of these things to test whether you have these skills. Thank you.